In this lesson, we'll learn about the type tool and typography. We'll see how to create some nice text styles. We'll see how to place the text on a path, and in the end we will also see how to combine the blend option with the type tool and create an interesting text style. So let's begin. So this is the type tool. We'll just bring this panel on our interface, and inside this type tools panel we can see plenty of tools, the typing related tools, but we'll not be using all these tools. We will be focusing on mainly the first one and the third one, which is the type on a path tool. Right, so first let's select the first type tool here, and we will click on our artboard. A default text appears here. We can just reduce the size of this text by using the character panel. Here is the character panel, and in case the character panel is not already open, we can always go to the window menu and we can scroll down and find here we can find the type, and inside the type we can find the character panel. We can also use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl T. Right, so from the character panel we can just reduce the size of the default text here. We can just put our cursor inside this input field and then just use the down arrow key to reduce the size of the text, and we can just highlight the text and hit backspace to remove the default text, and we can type our own text. So we can just say style, and we can say point. So the first thing we can see here, we have created 2 lines of text, but there is a lot of line gap, so we'll reduce the line gap here. So inside the character panel here we have the option set the leading, so we will just reduce the line gap, or we can just do one thing. We can just click here and we can just select this auto option to set the leading to its default value. Right, so this is the right way of adjusting the line gap. Right, then here we have plenty of fonts, so we can select the font of our choice. Fonts are basically the text styles. Right, there are some fonts which are directly available in our system, and there are some fonts which we need to download. Here I'll be using this Poppins font, Poppins, and inside the Poppins we have the options semi bold or extra bold. It will give us a thick text. Right, now let's try to manually increase the size of the text. To manually increase, we can just drag the corners of this bounding box around the text. So we can just hold Alt or Option and then drag any of the corners for proportional scaling. We can also use Alt and Shift or Option and Shift for center scaling. Right, now we will just select this type tool, highlight the text, and we can use the color panel to change the color of the text. Right, and there is also one keyboard shortcut to reduce the size of the text or increase the size of the text. So that is, first we need to highlight the text, so we can just select this type tool. We will highlight the text, and then we can use Ctrl Shift less than or Command Shift less than to reduce or decrease the size of the text, or Ctrl Shift greater than or Command Shift greater than to increase the size of the text. So this is one handy keyboard shortcut we can use, and then we will just create the text in one single line here. Right, then here we can just check the options over here. Here we can also increase the letter gap here using this option, set the tracking. but we don't have to change these options. We can keep them to their defaults. In case we have accidentally increased or decreased the tracking, the letter gap, we can always use this default value here 0 to set the tracking to its default value. Right. So now we will try to use the appearance panel to apply some more interesting styles to the text. So here we have the appearance panel, and again, in case the appearance panel is not already available, we can always go to the window menu and just select the appearance panel. Right. So inside the appearance panel, we can just bring this appearance panel closer to our text here. Right. So we don't have too many options right now inside the appearance panel, but the thing is, here to the top right corner of the appearance panel, we can see 3 lines. We can call it a hamburger menu. We can just click on this hamburger menu and we will see some more options here. Add new fill, add new stroke. Right. So what we can do with these options is, if we want to apply a gradient to the text, we can apply a gradient, because we can't apply the gradient normally to the text. For example, here there is an option gradient, but if I click on this option, we are unable to apply the gradient to the text. So the only way to apply gradient to the text is just open the appearance panel, just click on the menu to the top right corner, and then just click on this add new fill. Now a new fill is added to this appearance panel, and from this new fill we can just find the default gradient. There are some inbuilt gradients here, and if you click on this inbuilt gradient, now we can see we have applied a gradient to the text. So this is how we are supposed to apply gradients to the text. And now once we have applied the gradient, we can just open our gradient panel, and then we can adjust the gradient, or we can change the gradient. Here is the gradient panel. So if we don't like this gradient, we can just change the gradients here. For example, let's apply a bluish gradient. We can just remove some of the sliders here, and we can just apply our desired gradient here, so we can see. And also we can use the annotator to just change the position of the gradient. So if we want the gradient to appear in a diagonal position, we can just rotate it like this, rotate the annotator. And if you want to add one more color, we can always just click on this annotator, double click on the slider, and we can just add one more color. So this is how we can add gradients to the text. Inside the appearance panel, we have this option add new fill. First, let's type a text. Let's remove this default text and let's type Milky Bite. Right. Now let's change the font. So here from the character panel, let's select the font Cheetah Kick. Let's increase the size, and also let us reduce the line gap using this leading option. Right. So then we will now give some color to the text. So we can give any color. We'll give a red color. Right. Now let's open the appearance panel, and let's click on this menu to the top right, and let's select add new fill. So we have added a new fill to this text. Make sure that the text is selected. Right. So we can give some color. So previously it was red. Now also let us select the red color, and now let us add another fill. So again we will click on the menu, and here we have the option add new fill, and we have two fills. Now let's select the bottom fill and let's change the color to pure yellow. Right, and now we can't see the yellow color because here the fills are like layers. The bottom fill is not visible unless we apply some effects to it. So at the bottom of this appearance panel, here we have the effects, and we will go to path, and here we will select offset path. Now we can see the yellow color here, and we can increase the offset value, and now we can see we have a yellow outline around the red text, right? And we can add more colors here. Let's again go to the menu and select add new fill. So we have added one more fill here, and this time let's change the color to blue, but we want the blue color behind the red color. So we can just drag this fill and keep it below the red fill. Now again we can't see the blue because we need to increase the offset value for this. Again we will select the fill, and here we will click on effects, we'll go to path, offset path. Now we can see the blue color, right? Now we will add one more color. Let's try white color here. Again we will select the text here, and we will select add new fill. We want this fill to be below the red color, means behind the red color. So first we will change the color to white, but we want this white color to be behind the red color, and again we will add effects, offset path, and now we can see, right? So here we have multiple fills, and this kind of stylish text can be used like a sticker. For stickers or logos we can use these types of styles, right? We can do one more thing. We can also apply a warp effect to the text, but to apply warp effect we need to first expand the text. So we will select the text and we will go to object, and here we have the option expand appearance. So this expand appearance will convert the text into a vector graphic, means its current state is like text, but it will bring it outside the current state and convert it into a normal vector object. So let's select the expand appearance. Now it's no longer a text, and now what we can do is we can go to effect, and here we have the option warp, and inside warp we have a number of options. We will select this fish eye. So we will just try to change the bend value here. We can also play with these horizontal and vertical values here, so something like this, right? So we have created a sticker like text here. We can again just go to object and we can click on expand appearance again, right? So this is one interesting option. We can use this option for creating nice stickers for products, and we can also just select our artboard here. So in the latest version we can directly change the color of our artboard. Here inside properties we can give some, let us say, a dark green fill, right? We can also place the text on a path. So to place the text on a path, first we will create a path using the pen tool. Here we will just activate the stroke. We'll give a black stroke. We'll create a black stroke. Then we'll just create a path, something like this. Now we need to select this third option, not the first one, not the second one, but the third one. This is type on a path tool. So we will select this type on a path tool, and then we will place our text on this path. That's it. So we have created some text on the path. So let's change the font first. So let's open the character panel and let's use impact, and we will also reduce the size of the text, right? And also we will just type our own text. So we'll just type style point fashions. So let's just change the spelling here, style point fashions, right? So just we have placed the text, and we can also change the position of the text on the path. For that we need to select this direct selection tool, and then here we can see some lines. We can just take our mouse over these lines and we can see a tiny arrow, and once we see the tiny arrow we can just move these lines so that we can position the text wherever we want on the path, right? So this is how we can change the position of the text on the path, right? We can also place the text on a circular path. So we will select an ellipse and we will activate the stroke, and then we will create an ellipse from the center. So we'll create a perfect ellipse, right? Then we will select the type on a path tool and click over the path. So we can see some default text is created over the elliptical path. We can hit backspace and we can type our own text. So we can just type style point fashions for man and woman. So something like this, and in case we want to increase the size of the text we can just highlight the text, and then we can use Control Shift greater than or Command Shift greater than to increase the size of the text. So something like this, right? So here we have placed the text on a elliptical path, and if we want the text to begin from the bottom we can always position the text in whichever way we like. We need to select the direct selection tool, and then we will just move the text over this path, and here we can see there is an extra text here. We will just zoom into that point and then we will just drag the remaining portion, the hidden text. Right. So we can position the text in this manner, and we can slightly reduce the size of the text. Right. We can create a nice logo, a stamp logo. We can just select an ellipse here, and we will increase the size of our artboard. And then we'll take one more duplicate of this ellipse. We can change the color, and we will keep it behind the text. So something like this. and we can also change the inner ellipse to a stroke, an elliptical stroke. We can increase the size of the stroke, something like this, and we can just place a star at the center, something like this. So we have created a simple stamp logo, right? But we will create a better logo. We will also create the text on a circular path, but this time we'll create a new type of logo. We will create an ellipse and make sure that fill is off, and let's keep the ellipse at the center of the artboard. Right, now we will add points over this ellipse. And we will just delete the center points here. So now we have cut the ellipse into two pieces, right? So then what we'll be doing is we will create a duplicate of the top segment here. So we will just use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl C Ctrl F or Command C Command F, and we will just create a duplicate and we will place it like this, and then we will also create a duplicate of the bottom segment and then place it like this, right? So now we will do one more thing. We will try to just select the outer ellipses or outer segments and then just make them big, and then we can just try to just move them a little bit away like this, right? Now what we'll be doing is we will put a text on top of this top segment here. So what we'll be doing is we will select the type on a path tool, and here we will just type "it defines you." So this is a caption for a fashion brand, and we can just position it properly on this path, right? Then we will also put a text on the bottom segment. We'll just click and we can see there is a default text appearing here, but one thing we need to observe here, that is the text is appearing upside down. So first let's type the caption, "it describes you," right? So right now the text is appearing upside down, and we need to position it properly. So for that, what we need to do is we will just go to the type menu, and inside the type menu here we have type on a path option, and let's select the type on a path options dialog, and let's open this. And then if we turn on the preview and turn on this flip, so we can see, now we can see the text appear properly. But we can also change these options at the bottom here. Align to path is there. Currently the baseline is the default option. Let's select a descender, or we can also try ascender. Okay, ascender is fine, and then let's click OK. Now let's position the text properly. So we can just use the direct selection tool, and we can slightly zoom, and we can just move it, right? We can just move it properly, right? and in case we want to just slightly move it a little bit upwards, we can move it manually, right? So now this looks nice. Now what we'll be doing is we will just select the first type tool, and what we'll be doing is we will just type the name of the company here, or name of the brand, that is Style Point, and we will also change the font here. This time we will select the font Great Vibes, right? And we can also do one thing here. Let's capitalize the P, and we will just give some spacing here, right? So we can increase the size of the text, right? We can make it big, right? And then what we'll be doing is we will just select the outer segment here. We'll take a duplicate of this and we'll make it a little bit small. So something like this. And we can properly adjust the text here, the caption here, right? And we will do the same thing for the bottom one. We'll take a duplicate, we'll just make it a little bit small here, right? So we can adjust like this, and we can just position these captions properly, right? Then we can actually expand the captions. So we'll go to Object, Expand, and once we expand, the path is gone. So we need to adjust if we want to adjust the positioning of the text, we have to do it when the path is active, right? Then what we'll be doing is we'll take one more duplicate of the segments here, just we can stretch them a little bit, and we can also just adjust the text. And we'll do it for the bottom segment as well. Right. And we will increase the size of our artboard. And then we will take one more duplicate of the outer segment, and we'll do the same for the bottom segment. Right. Then we will just create one star here. We will just rotate this, and we will hit O. We'll create a copy, a flipped copy of this star on the right side, right? And we will do the same thing at the bottom. Here we will just create one star, and we will create a flipped copy of this star, and just place it exactly parallel to the first one. Right, then we will just select the text tool. We will change the font to, let's say, impact. We'll reduce the size of the text. We'll just type since 1990, and we will just put one big star over here. So we can just make it a little bit attractive by just creating these stars. And one last thing we'll type for man and woman. Right, so this is a stamp logo we have created using the type on a path options as well as the type on a path tool. Let's create a new stylish text by combining the blend option with the type tool. So first let's select the type tool. Let's type something. Let's type Rosie. So here we are using the font Handy Chira. Right, so we will slightly increase the size of the text. Then we will also change its color. Right, then we will take a duplicate of this text. This time we will use the shortcut Ctrl C Ctrl B or Command C Command B, which is to paste the copy behind the original, and we will use shift down arrow and left arrow. Right, and now we will just select the topmost text and let's keep it aside for a while, and then let's change the color of this text to black. And now we will take one more duplicate. We will put the duplicate again behind this particular text. So Ctrl C Ctrl B or Command C Command B, and we will slightly just move it to the left. Right, now what we'll be doing is we will just select both these words, and then we will go to the object menu, and here we have the blend option, and we will just open the blend options, and inside the blend options here we have a 100. We can just put 150 inside the specified steps input field. Right, now we'll go to the object menu again, and then we will just go to the blend and select make. Right, then we will select the original or the first word here, and then just keep it over the duplicates. So we got a nice 3D looking text. Right, and we'll make it more interesting. So what we'll be doing is we will just open the appearance panel, and then we will just add new fill, and here we have added new fill. We will just apply red color to this, and we will add one more fill. This time for the bottom fill, change the color here. Let's change the color to, let's say, yellow, and now we will just go to the distort and transform and select transform, and inside this transform effect dialog we will put the copies to 1, and we will also try to just move this vertical slider a bit, So we can see the change. So we can see the change here, but we need to keep them a little bit at the bottom, right? So let's not put a big value here. We can just put this much value, 0.256. This is all right. Right, and we can slightly increase the value in case we are not satisfied here. Let's put 5, or let's put 7. Right, this looks better. So here we have created an interesting stylish text by combining the blend option with the type tool.